Welcome everybody back to the Three Man Rush podcast. We are here to continue on with our Week 6 picks and predictions. If you watched last episode, obviously you heard the rants, you heard the Ravens, you heard us rant about the Ravens. There's a lot going on here. So the good news is this episode we're strictly keeping it simple with some of these matchups. We're not going to get too crazy with everything. So if you're looking for a short, sweet episode on some matchups and picks, you've come to the right place. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification if you're watching here on YouTube. Subscribe and leave us a 5-star review on the podcast. You know, if you're listening in audio format, we greatly appreciate any support. Without further ado, I'm your host, Landon Oliver, here with my two co-hosts, Andrew Scott, Big Jared Holly down there. What's up, boys? You ready to get into it?
Let's do this thing.
Nope, I'm not. This is the episode we got to talk about the Rams, so I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not ready
that's
for
true.
this.
Actually, Drew, before we start, you've had a rough time over the last few days. It's been a rough sports week for you,
man.
Yeah, it's been a rough few weeks for you sports wise. This is like, it kind of reminds me of the Thanos thing where the Rams win the Super Bowl and it's like, well, what did it cost you?
Everything.
So,
Kentucky looked like they were having a special football season. They proceeded to drop 2 in a row. The Cardinals.
Out, you know.
It's just like, which it happens every year, but the Cardinals go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum. They drop 2 at home and get knocked out. The Rams have been getting absolutely manhandled for 2 weeks straight. It's just like watching sports has been really difficult to do the past couple weeks, man. Like, it's been really tough. All I feel is pain.
You have KD and the Brooklyn Nets coming to save you.
I get to watch KD play basketball soon, so that is a plus.
Yeah. My boy Ben Mathurin looked like a stud tonight. I'm so excited. All right, guys. Well, let's get into some of the matchups. We're going to kick it off with our first one. I just didn't know if Drew wanted to get a little bit off of his chest, but I think he'll have plenty of time here. But while we end this episode, let's kick off with the Buccaneers and Steelers, a once great matchup featuring two veteran quarterbacks going head-to-head has now devolved into not a great matchup featuring one veteran quarterback up against a rookie, which I think Kenny Pickett's played pretty well, you know, relative to what he's been asked to do. A lot of talk about Mike Tomlin here over the last few weeks.
Yeah, lots of rumblings.
So pretty crazy to see that. And I mean, do we get the same treatment that Belichick gets, where it's like, oh well, Brady carried him, and then, you know, Big Ben leaves, and now Mike Tomlin's getting exposed. You know, hey, apparently it's hard to win without a Hall of Fame quarterback. Who would have guessed?
No, I actually like Mike Tomlin, so I will not be giving fair treatment.
Okay. Well, Belichick got into the playoffs with his rookie quarterback, so I mean, I don't know what Tomlin's excuse is, but actually, I do. I take this back. I do know what Tomlin's excuse is. Matt Canada is his offensive coordinator. So
yeah, it definitely does not help.
That's a great excuse right there. But yeah, so the Buccaneers haven't looked good at all. The Pittsburgh Steelers haven't looked good at all. Man, like these are two. It's weird that the Buccaneers, like, it's good that they play in the NFC South because they're not playing good football, man. Like, there's not really too much more to it. Whereas the Steelers, you know, at least they kind of have a little bit of hope. Like, it's very clear that they're going to be in a rebuild. Like, their offensive line's bad. Still to this day, like, picking a running back, like, with their first round pick, you know, a couple of years back, like, it's so stupid. I don't know why. Like, you're never a running back away. Like, you're never a running back away. So it's coming back to haunt them, man. Like, they still don't have a good offensive line. Their defense now is really kind of falling apart a little bit. Their corners are not great.
Shit.
Yeah,
Outside of Minka.
Yeah, and even he's playing bad football right now. It's not to
Yeah,
excuse
he didn't
him.
look good this past week.
Yeah, well, Ken Dorsey had that guy in a blender. Yeah, it was a rough day for the Steelers DBs. A lot of that, they didn't play their best, but a lot of it, man, like they just got schemed to death. Like, yeah, I mean, they were literally schemed to death in that game. But yeah, man, it's rough. So, anything you guys really are looking for in this matchup? Like, are you looking for maybe the Buccaneers to get back on track here, or are you looking to see a little bit more from Kenny Pickett? See how they kind of utilize him some.
A little
I
bit of
don't.
both,
Right.
personally. I think this is a get right spot for Tom Brady. The one thing about this game is the pacing of it is what's concerning, and I don't know, man. Like that offensive line, Tampa is not good right now. So in Pittsburgh's offensive line, we knew at the beginning of the year wasn't going to be very good. But I think Brady gets it on the right track this week, and I think Pickett's going to show signs of improvement in this game too.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of hope for the Steelers in this one in terms of like expecting to see anything positive out of them, to be honest. But I will. Last week, I started to get on board a little bit with the Tampa concern, and if we don't see progress this week, then it's really like time to
Okay.
turn on the
Yeah.
panic meter.
Yeah.
If they can't perform, they can't get it going against the Steelers secondary. It's looking like they probably won't have Russell Gage or Julio, but they will have Godwin and Mike Evans, and they will have the greatest quarterback of all time, which should be good enough against the Steelers secondary. So if I don't see a little bit
Name
of
and
rhythm,
retire.
if I don't see a little bit of like little rhythm, little just looking like a fluid passing offense for at least a little bit of the game, I think it'll be time to hit the panic meter at that point.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Steelers get Mike or George Pickens a little bit more involved and get him the ball a little bit more. So
Yeah, they should.
If you are interested in the betting line for this one, that is Buccaneers are favorited at -7.5 away, which is pretty crazy. They're playing in Pittsburgh. And money line right now, Buccaneers at -400 favorites to win. Steelers at +280 underdogs. Scoring over unders 43.5. Yeah, I'm curious. I actually might take the over on this one. Yeah, I think this might be a little bit closer of a game than what people think. But yeah, let's move on to our next matchup here.
You gonna pick it, or is it unanimous?
Probably assumption we're all on Tampa, right?
Yeah, you said Pickett, like Kenny Pickett.
On to the next game.
On to the next. Yeah, all three of us, we're going to take Tampa on this one. All right, 49ers and Falcons. Drew, I want to pass this to you. I know you had some words once again for 2 weeks in a row now for your boy Arthur Smith.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to forget this. So yeah, go ahead and hit us with what you got on Big Arthur.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to forget about Arthur with how fucking forgetful everything he does is. But so let me see if I can find the stat that I read. I don't even know if I can find it anymore. It's been so long. Who was it that put it out there? Essentially, Kyle Pitts was out of the game this week. So Arthur Smith can no longer ruin Kyle Pitts for at least 1 week.
Which really is not like any different than when
that line was about the same.
So that was good news, right? You can't ruin Kyle Pitts this week. You can't. You at least you cannot like.
You can't line him up at running back in this.
Yeah, so it's like how you gonna make me mad this week? Because like it seems like it's probably gonna be pretty tough to do. I wish I could find it, man. Because I want to be exact with the numbers that I'm given. Oh, here we go. All right, so with Kyle Pitts out, so with your 1A or 1B to your offense, however you want to look at Drake London and Kyle Pitts, with him out, leaving Drake London as the alpha dog. Somehow he's still only now Drake London routes dropped this week. He ran less routes this week with Kyle Pitts out. And 23 routes on 34 dropbacks, which another amazing thing. Why is Mariota only dropping back 34 times, and then why is Drake London not out there for 100% of the dropbacks? And I think he missed some snaps because he was injured, but nonetheless, I'm ready to fire Arthur Smith into the sun. I just don't. I don't want to ever have to look at this man ever again. The other thing that I'll say, if they don't want to expose Desmond Ridder to the 49ers and to the Bengals defense the next 2 weeks, I understand. But after that, 2 of their next 3 games are against Carolina. So I think it's week 8, they play Carolina for the first time, and then they play them again in week 10, I believe. If by week 8 we don't see Desmond Ridder, I'm going to start to get a little fucking annoyed. Like, granted, Carolina's defense isn't a pushover, so like it's not like it's not like it's like the easiest defense to go up against, but it's at least a winnable football game to where even if Ritter's struggling a little bit, he can keep his confidence up, and they're going to be in the game, assuming Arthur Smith doesn't also ruin that. So if we don't see Desmond Ridder in a couple weeks, like I've seen enough of Marcus Mariota. I'm over it. There's nothing is happening here, nothing. And I'm so beyond done with this shit, man. So I need to see Desmond Ridder in a couple weeks, and I need some type of hope for Drake London and Kyle Pitts to do something despite Arthur Smith, because he's certainly not going to help them succeed. So they're going to have to do it in spite of him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're worried about him making those guys, helping them succeed, I don't know what the hope is for Desmond Ridder.
I'm hoping Ridder can just go out there and say fuck it and run the show.
There ain't a whole lot of hope right now for the Falcons in general. They did make, in all fairness, they made a push in that game.
That's what makes it worse, is in Arthur's head, he's probably thinking that what he's doing is fucking working because they're playing games close and things like that, and they're in games they have no business being in. And I think a lot of it's just purely people just like kind of falling to sleep against Atlanta. Like Tampa Bay's defense had no business letting them back in that game. But I don't know. That's almost the worst part, is they have been so close to winning a couple times. It's like Arthur's sitting in there like, see, I told you, I'm playing to win.
Yeah. Well, here's a defense that's probably not going to let them back into the game. I know that's the 49ers defense.
No, they will not.
Yeah, this defense right now is
relentless.
They're on another level. Like from top to bottom. Linebackers, safety coverage, defensive backs are playing really well right now. The pass rush is just insane. Nick Bosa is just insane. And then on top of that, man, like it's almost impossible to run the ball on these guys. This going to be a rough day for Atlanta defensively. There's really too much to say. And then on the other side of the ball, man, like George Kittle's kind of getting a little bit more involved now. He looked a little bit better this week. They're getting him featured. I mean, he still blocks. He's mostly a blocker at this point. Especially because Trent Williams is still out. But and Jimmy G, man, like, say what you will, but once again, come on. No, he does, man. He puts them in winning positions. Like, he puts them in position to win ball games. Like, it is what it is. But I know you don't agree. But is he a franchise quarterback? No. Is their ceiling capped with him at quarterback? Yes, it is.
He's also not the reason they're winning the games.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he's the sole. I mean, there's never somebody that's like the sole reason you win games. Obviously, their defense is the reason they're winning ball games right now. But the guy still, he makes smart decisions on a consistent basis. Like he'll occasionally have the boneheaded Jimmy G play where you're just like, oh, like what are you doing? But for the most part, man, he gets them in the good spots, and that's what I look at. That's what they need out of quarterback right now. As much as we like Trey Lance, I'm not willing to say that I still think he needs a lot of seasoning, man. Like he just needs a little bit more time.
He needed to play. Has always been the
Yeah,
problem.
well, yeah, not last year. He didn't play last year at all.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he did.
nah, he didn't play last year.
He had to sit out a whole college season before that. I just don't see how sitting on the sidelines again for another year was going to be beneficial. Maybe for half a season or something, but
He's because he's not ready. He's just not, and like you saw it in the first couple games. He's just not ready.
and reps were the only thing that were going to help him get ready. There's only so much you can do in practice, man.
I mean, like I agree with that to an extent, but some of his issues aren't reps related. Some of his it's game plan related. Like it's his ability to run the offense. Like he's not mentally processing it correctly. Like there's no amount of reps that can do that. You either can or you can't, and all that stuff happens during the week. It has nothing to do with him getting reps. If you cannot run the game plan. That's when
he's not getting
practice for. You have install days in practice. You go through camp. This is a guy. I mean, he's been running this for months now. Like he's getting reps with the ones for months.
But if he's not getting game time reps, how do you know he can't process it and he can't make the right choices? If he's not getting those game time reps to prove himself, how do you know if he's just sitting on the sidelines?
He's still making the same mistakes.
He started like 4 games, and only 2 of them have been whenever he was knowing he was going to be the starter and had the full week of preparation.
I'm not saying he's not like what. As far as like when it comes to like making like mistakes, is like throwing like I don't care about interceptions. That's he can throw interceptions. That's fine. He's taking chances. That's good. Like that's fine with me if he wants to take. I don't care about picks. What I care about is, are you getting the offense into the best position to execute a successful play? And that's what Jimmy G does better than what he does.
We don't know that. He started 2 games this year, and one of them was a complete monsoon where nobody could do anything. Those are his 2. And then he had one other
I'm not saying I love Trey Lance as much as anybody.
That's fine. I'm just saying you can't say that he doesn't do it whenever he's had 2 shots. As the known starter, you're going into the week, you're the starter. He's had 2 opportunities, and one of them was a literal fucking like hurricane that he was playing in. Yeah, we don't know if he can do it. So I don't think you can say that he doesn't do this whenever he hasn't had the chance to do this.
Regardless, Jimmy G does do that. So, yeah, he does. But look, they're playing the Falcons. Like, what are we doing?
About
yeah, so I mean,
we're not going to talk about the Falcons. Like Arthur Smith's already ruined all that.
Yeah, the Falcons aren't even fun now because like Cordell Patterson's been hurt. Like there's nothing fun about this team whatsoever.
No, not at all.
All right, yeah. So 49ers are away, so Falcons are at home in the Dome. 49ers are -5.5 point favorites on the point spread, -250 favorites on the money line, +190 underdogs for the Atlanta Falcons. 43.5 once again, point over under. So kind of keeping the theme here. Very similar lines to the Buccaneers Steelers game. So now let's get into the next game here.
I got the Falcons. I'm just playing.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I'm just playing. I got the 49ers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought we've decided. I'm sorry. For official show purposes, I'm picking the 49ers. Jared, who are you picking?
I will also take the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay. glad we got that written down. We got it on video, so which will inevitably blow up in our face because football. All right, so let's get on to it.
Up in our face. This fucking team made me look stupid. I put myself on blast after that Giants-Packers game, talking about making people stupid. Whenever I got on here last week and said, I don't care who's playing quarterback for the Giants, the Packers are going to win this game easily. Okay.
Yeah. Now they get to play the other New York team that doesn't play in New York.
Also playing good ball, too. Jets are playing good ball, too.
Now, you want to talk about being worried about teams? Like we were talking about the Buccaneers and things like that?
The Packers?
I'm worried about the Green Bay Packers.
I would worry about the Packers, too.
That defense is not as advertised. They are not playing as good as they were supposed to. They have I think Baker Mayfield has as many 15 or 20-yard completions as Aaron Rodgers right now. Like, they have no downfield threat. It's not that Rodgers is playing bad. They just don't
Rodgers
have
is playing this
anybody.
fine.
Yeah, they just don't have anybody that can stretch the field.
Well,
So
it's not only
they're
that. I
they
mean,
don't.
like it's simple mistakes from the wide receivers. Like so, like even going back. So I did watch a little bit on this. I didn't do like a full like tape thing, but I did watch a few like key plays in it. And there is one of the plays where, towards the end of the game, Rodgers ends up. It wasn't the end of the end of the game there, but it was towards the end. Rodgers ends up running a play action pass, takes a sack, and everybody's like, "Oh, like you can't take a sack in that situation. Like, what are you doing?" Like, he had this guy, open. He had good protection, blah blah blah. So basically, the read is whenever so it's a play action pass. Whenever he gets out of action, whenever he turns around after he fakes the pass or fakes the handoff, I believe it was which was the wide receiver that it was. Kid, the new one, second round pick.
Dobbs?
Christian Watson?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, definitely wasn't Dobbs. Yes, Watson. Is supposed to be coming out of his break whenever Rodgers flips around and his back foot hits. Like, ball's supposed to be out. Boom.
I'm sure the ball's supposed to be out quick, right?
Yeah.
That's all.
So
That's all this passing offense is made out of right now. But
it was they were attacking the deep middle. They were attacking deep middle of the field, and like he had, I mean, it was going to be, supposed to be open, but he was late coming out of his break. So whenever Rodgers flips around and Rodgers is ready to deliver that ball, kid hasn't even come out of his break yet. He's just late. And so then, it turns into a negative play and everybody's like, oh, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? Like, dude, that's on your wide receiver. Like,
yeah,
these
Rodgers
guys
has been playing just fine.
Yeah, like these guys aren't in the correct spots. They're not, I mean, and they're young, it's 5 weeks into their rookie years. Romeo Dobbs, on the other hand, like that kid's a baller. Like I've sung his praises now for damn near 8 months. He's a good player. Even he makes mistakes. It's tough right now. It's tough on those weapons. It's tough on the offensive line. The line is like they are getting healthier, but yeah, the defensive line, man. I saw something today where it was something about so like the EPA of Aaron Rodgers during his MVP year was like 0.25, like 0 per pass or something like that. And right now, every run against the Green Bay Packers, whenever you run against their defense, is like plus 253. And it basically equates to like the way it was explained is like, so basically running against the Green Bay Packers, every run is the equivalent of letting an MVP quarterback throw a pass.
Well, and every DB that was targeted in the second half gave up a perfect passer rating to Daniel Jones, including Jair Alexander. Every DB in the second half gave up a perfect passer rating. The one that was targeted.
Yeah, and like credit the Giants, man. Like they had a fantastic.
They do deserve credit.
But
this was supposed to be like
a fantastic game plan. That ball was awesome. The Wink Martindale was awesome. Like the Giants, they won that game.
Green Bay didn't lose. Coaching staff. I'm just saying that whenever you were supposed to be one of the best defenses in the league coming into the year, you can't be giving up perfect passer ratings to Richie James and was that Sills and like it's guys that even as much football as we watch and as involved as we are in fantasy, like I'm even having I'm struggling coming up with their second and third options at receiver. They're so bad right now, and the Packers secondary looked lost. They were getting carved up by Daniel Jones.
And it's been like that every week, man. Like they've gone down to the wire every week. It feels like.
Yeah, they barely beat Bailey Zappi the week before.
Yeah, I mean, like it's every week it comes down to the wire for them, and eventually, man, like, and I said this about Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, like, because it was the same thing there. Eventually, you're gonna get got. You like in this league, if you do not play up to par, and like you might be more talented, and like the Packers are way more talented than the Giants are. They're way more talented than the Patriots are. But the longer you let an NFL, these guys are professionals. The longer you let these teams hang around and almost beat you, somebody's gonna take advantage of it, and they're gonna put an L on you. All these guys are professionals. So yeah, I'm worried about Green Bay a little bit. Luckily, it's early in the season. These wide receivers and Aaron Rodgers still have plenty of time to gel. The NFC, for the most part, is bad. So I don't really envision a scenario
outside of Philly. Seriously,
I don't. Yeah, which I don't envision a scenario in which they miss the playoffs. Like even if Minnesota wins the division, which I still kind of highly doubt.
I don't know about that. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but they had trouble with the Bears this week too. Like the Bears could have won that game.
Justin Fields, good quarterback. But man, like I don't envision a spot where they're out of the playoff picture. So I think as the season goes on, they're asking a lot of their rookies, man. And not even just on offense, like on defense too. And it's still like the selection of Quay Walker over Devin Lloyd. I still don't understand why that pick happened. And it's not that I dislike Quay Walker, but like, dude, like Devin Lloyd was clearly the best linebacker in that class. Like, I mean, to me at least. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but obviously,
you can speak for me on that one.
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, the Packers thought different, and I'm never going to pretend I know more than an actual NFL team.
Looks like we got that one right, though.
Yeah,
that's what we do every week.
Yeah, I know.
It does kind of come with the territory.
Yeah, I've got a lot wrong. I've got a lot wrong. Let me preface that. It's like like we get a lot right, and I'm not going to speak.
You get just as much wrong.
Oh my God, dude! Yeah, you remember Jared? I know remembers. How high was I on Sam Bradford out of Oklahoma? Was I a big Sam Bradford guy?
Yeah, it was.
What was the phrase that was used? The second coming of Peyton Manning, I believe, was what I called Sam Bradford.
Yeah, he was not quite
there. He was good. He can't stay healthy. He was fine whenever he played. That's the problem, though. I believe Drew. What was it like? I think we were both big Sam Darnold guys a few years back.
He was QB1 for me in that class.
QB1.
I had Lamar Jackson QB2, so that was a little bit of a ridiculous.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had Lamar and Josh Allen bringing up the rear there.
I had Baker QB3 and Josh Allen QB4.
Yeah,
and then Josh Rosen.
I had Josh Allen higher just because of the physicals. Like I had him higher than Baker. I'm pretty sure Baker was QB5 for me. Honestly, I'd have to think. I'd have to go back and look at it. But
yeah, I definitely swung and missed on Darnold for sure.
Yeah. I was also a huge Jimmy Clausen fan right here as well. Big Jimmy Clausen guy. Love Jimmy Clausen out of Notre Dame. So yeah, I mean it's it's not to say that we know more, we're always right, because like trust me,
it's a lot easier to do this than it is to do what they have to do.
Yeah. They also have a lot more resources than we have.
Also true. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, pretty much like unless which I get college all 22 film, so I mean, like it's a little bit easier for me than just strictly watching the college games on broadcast. I can actually dig into film a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, I don't get to meet with these kids. I don't get to set in and talk to them and quiz them and go over offenses. Like I don't get to do any of that stuff. So
right.
Yeah, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I do want to talk about the Jets though. Jets are playing really good football.
Goddamn Jets.
Jets are playing good football right now, man. Love the way they're using their running backs right now. Love the usage of Breece Hall in the passing game. Really like what Zach Wilson's putting together as well on tape. Believe whenever he is kept clean, he's really one of the most efficient passers in football right now whenever he's throwing from a clean pocket. Now, outside of that, that's when things get a little bit dicey. Decision-making gets a little sped up. He kind of forces the issue, which has always kind of been his problem. But, yeah, man, like if the guy can just learn to just continue to take the layups, don't push the issue, all that. Like he's a good quarterback, man. I am on the hill that Zach Wilson is a good quarterback. He just has some stuff to clean up. He's super young. it is what it is. But they're doing right by him. They're doing right by him. And I think once they get that offensive line a little bit more settled in,
Elijah Vera Tucker is a fucking beast.
he is, man. I believe we were high on him too, weren't we?
We were. That was another one we got right. That man
we
played right tackle for the first time in his career. Threw him out there because they didn't have nobody else. He gave up no pressures.
Yeah.
Like I think he's played like 3 different spots on the O line already this year and excelled in all of them. It's just like
USC guy, man.
If they had 5 Elijah Vera Tuckers, they'd have like the best offensive line in football. Like the dude's so good. And Garrett Wilson is great. Breece Hall is great. Sauce Gardner is defensive rookie of the year for my money right now, man. Like, I
don't know if he's defensive rookie of the year.
You find me a better option, and then I'll see if I can change my mind. But right now, I
had somebody the other day written down.
I was gonna say that defense has looked pretty good last few weeks. Those the host secondaries look amazing.
Jermaine Johnson's starting to play well too.
And I think they have a little bit of a recipe going too. I mean, Miami's got some injuries, obviously, but they blew them.
Oh, Tariq Woolen.
Tariq Woolen is he should be in the conversation.
That's my guy right now. Devin Lloyd's in that convo.
He also should be.
But yeah, for my money right now, defensive rookie of the year is Tariq Woolen. I mean, the guy leads the league in picks. Under 40 passes. I mean, like more than that. I mean, it's not like the whole thing with Diggs last year where it's like, well, yeah, he gave up 1,200 yards, but he leads the league in picks. No, like he leads the league in picks, but like you also don't you can't throw on it.
Yeah, no, I like Tariq Woolen.
Yeah, big Tariq Woolen guy. 5th round, you got shit me. Maybe we do know more of it. Like maybe I was gonna say it, bro. Maybe we do know a little bit more than what like. Some of this shit's ridiculous.
I can say with confidence, I at least know more than Arthur Smith whenever it comes to who you should put on the fucking field. I at least know that Kyle Pitts and Drake London should be out there all the time. So I apparently am a fucking genius whenever it comes to putting personnel on the field. So I've got that going for me.
You're doing something right. Even Big Jared down there, he was like, hey, man, like I know the Detroit Lions are high-scoring offense in football. You should play the Patriots defense. Maybe he knows a little bit more than he's letting on.
Yeah, he flies under the radar and just
bunch of high IQ motherfuckers on this show right here.
There's this little like that I mean, that definitely was a risky call, but I looked at it as like, hey, has Detroit played outside of a dome? No, they have not.
Yeah,
so they're gonna play
something that most people wouldn't even think about.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think about it.
And they were banged up too. Like that was the other part of it. I'm like, okay, the offense is banged up, their defense is bad. They're playing a game outdoors.
Bill Belichick owns Jared Goff.
Yeah. This is the kind of game where I didn't think they'd get goose egg, but
you were spot on though.
Yeah.
I think the Jets have a chance at winning this game, man.
I do too.
I really do. I would like the chances more if it was in New York instead of Green Bay. But I think they got a good shot at winning this game.
I do too. So much so
it should be full on panic button for the Packers. If they lose to the New York teams in back-to-back weeks, buddy.
Yeah. So right now, Packers are -7 favorites right now. Yeah, Packers are -7 favorites right now.
Packers are a touchdown favorite.
Yep, point spread right now. Money line is on the Packers at -333. Jets are +250 underdogs. Well, let's take that bet. And point spread right now is 46.5.
It's pretty. That's not bad.
No, not bad point spread at all. Yeah, let's go ahead and pick this game, man.
Fuck it, man. I'm taking the Jets.
I'm taking Aaron Jones to have a monster day and the Packers win easily.
I want to take the Jets.
There you go, saying that easily shit. That got me in trouble last week. I hope it works out better for you.
Jared's going to end up on the 3-Man Rush Twitter account.
This one's at home. It's not in London.
That's true.
I got the Patriots. That's where I'm at tonight. I'm so
I do think that could end up being the deciding factor. I'm taking the Jets just to have some fun, but I feel much more confident. He is.
He's a good running back.
The defense gets right. Aaron Jones has a big day. Packers win.
Shit. I'm gonna take the Jets too.
Let's go. Let's go.
Sorry, Mama. I love you.
Had to do it.
Island over here.
Sorry, Mama.
What a world we live in where Jared's on an island taking the Packers to beat the goddamn Jets. That's crazy, man.
So now let's hit in our next matchup here.
I'm excited to talk about this one.
Yeah. Vikings Dolphins is the matchup right now. And if you did not know, Tua is out again this week. On the other, also Teddy Bridgewater is out again this week. So yeah, third string quarterback playing up against the vaunted Vikings defense. Man, like I don't know. This to me, I'm not excited to watch this game. It's gonna be a bad game.
Oh, I'm not excited to watch it. I'm just excited to brag on Kirk a little bit.
Oh well, here, go ahead.
We've given Kirk a lot of shit over the years for his lack of clutch gene, lack of making the play, things like that, And I mean, it's been well deserved, I feel like. But this year, as of right now, he is tied for the league in game-winning drives. He's already racked up 3 of them this year in 5 weeks, and that's something that I would not have guessed was going to be in play for 2022. I would have figured that, they'd be winning games, handling them and things like that. I'm not thinking, oh, Kirk got the ball in his hands, they're about to go and win it. But that's it. It's been happening more than anybody else other than, go figure, Daniel Jones. He's tied with Daniel Jones for the most
Matt Ryan
drives.
If the damn kicker could kick a field goal, Matt Ryan has 3 of them right now too. He has 2.
But yeah, so I want to give Kirk a little bit of props, man, because that's not like I was high on the Vikings this year. Picked them to win the division. That so I'm a little like I'm rooting for the Vikings because that was like my bold call of the offseason, I guess, if you wanna say that was like the division I really went down on a limb on.
Safe to say it's better than my Lions pick. So
so I'm rooting for the Vikings a little bit just to make me look smarter than I am. And they've got a team that I think that they should be able to handle with no Tua. So I'm hoping they rack up another win here. And then in turn, if Green Bay could just, drop that game against the Jets and widen that gap even more, it's just, you would be sitting pretty. So I think it's cool to see Kirk getting some game-winning drives under his belt.
Yeah. I've never understood the Kirk Cousins hate. I've never bought into it. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah, he definitely gets more hate than he deserves.
Yeah, makes no sense. On the other end, the Miami Dolphins, the big news, like some big news coming out of Miami. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, actually. Tyreek Hill was interviewed today, and he said in order to promote, I guess, like the team being more serious and stuff like that, they took the ping pong table out of the locker room.
Hey, now.
Yeah, that's shit's getting serious down there. Drop a couple games.
That's why he's getting so chalky.
Yeah. Drop a couple games. You think you playing ping pong on my watch? Nope.
I probably would have graduated college like a year earlier if they would have taken the ping pong table out of the break room. So maybe it works out for him.
Got a point. Yeah. So there's no more ping pong down in Miami. They're strictly focused on football. Finally.
Only took you 6 weeks, but we're here.
But yeah, man, it's this is tough.
Man, if they announce they're going to cut out movie night too, look out.
Think about what happened.
The popcorn machine out of that locker room. It's over. Like season's done.
After that win against Baltimore, like everybody was on cloud 9 about this team, and now like.
Well, I mean, you lose your starting quarterback in the fashion that they did. I mean, that's a
it's crumbling really quick.
They need Tua back big time.
Yeah. I think if anything though, it helps Tua long term because now they see what it's like not having him.
Mm-hmm.
So like long term, I think this might be a good thing for him. There's a chance he never plays again. Like I know it's a very small chance, but there is a chance that he never plays again because of this injury and the publicity.
I think he plays next week.
I do too. I mean, that's very, very, very unlikely. But that injury's changing the league already too.
Mm-hmm.
This last week proved that there was a lot of more cautiousness when people were getting up slower, and there was games being paused due to injuries that normally wouldn't be paused during. So it's going to change football because they got bad press, and the NFL doesn't like that.
Oh, it's already changing football, bro. It's the way they protect it. And look, I say this every episode. I'm not one to like. I'm a quarterback guy. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm not. But I mean, at the end of the day, come on. It's fucking football. It's time to. These guys know what they're signing up for, and they're getting paid millions of dollars. You can't let these type of plays decide games, and that's what's going on right now. These plays are deciding games.
I don't know. I kind of side more towards taking care of the player. Long term.
Well, there's a difference between taking care of the player and just like catering to a single position. I mean,
because been catering to the quarterback position forever now, and the wide receiver position is
not to this extent.
You can't play defense anymore.
I mean, the concussion thing.
The concussion thing is really ramped up.
Well, that's not only for quarterbacks though. I mean, like that's all players.
No, it's not. But I'm saying like you can't even really at this point.
I mean, the concussion protocol wasn't serious enough. Like, so everybody on the planet that was watching the game knew Tua had a concussion whenever they tried to say he had a back injury.
2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row.
I'm not talking about
he had a concussion.
I'm talking about the stuff like like what happened in Kansas City or what happened, in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. Like, I mean, like you're just
roughing the passer and concussions. That's the concussion protocol. Those are two completely different conversations to have.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I thought we were going. Like, I thought it was more geared towards like.
No.
Like wrestling the
I'm talking about
the roughing the passer thing. I'm completely on board with you. That is entirely too far.
I don't think you would have
concussion
seen
protocol. These guys these players are way too competitive. They're not going to look out for themselves.
Oh yeah, no.
Exactly.
Like that, you have to have somebody up there looking out for their best interest because they're not going to.
Well, no.
That's so.
That's your livelihood. That's your money.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is like the reason why this is going to. If it would have been one thing if he would have had a concussion, so he gets up after that hit, they go off to the sidelines, and he's ruled out for that game for concussion. I think it's normal day in the office the following week because of the severity of.
I guess
on an island game when that's the only game going on, and the dude's hands look like it did, and there's people talking about it on the internet that don't even watch sports. Like, it's a PR disaster.
Yeah, I think like where I was more headed towards though was like because of the Tua call, now everything is like hyper focused on protecting the quarterback, and a lot of that comes in the form of roughing the passer penalties, and so like that, the position in itself is just like it's guarded, it's deciding ball games, like the penalties and stuff like that, and I don't agree with that. But yeah, I do agree with the thing of like, hey. If these guys show any type of symptoms for concussions, like yeah, we need to get them out of there. But
he should have never been out there.
No.
Yeah,
which I mean,
the roughing the passer shit. The roughing the passer shit is so bad. It's terrible. The Tom Brady call was awful.
Atrocious. It was so
bad. The Chris Jones call.
Chris Jones call was awful. Terrible.
I don't know what Chris Jones has done to the officials, like in general.
NFL refs hate that man.
They fucking hate that guy.
Yeah. No, that part I agree with completely. The roughing the passer shit. That shit's awful. They got to figure that out.
The Tom Brady one definitely affected that game too, because the Falcons had all the momentum in that game.
I mean, to be fair, there was a pretty clear pass interference call that was missed before that would have put the Bucks in a position to pretty much put it out of reach. So it's like it's one of those things where you can never point to one play and say that this bad call decided the game because there's so much that happens in four quarters to go into it. But they did miss the they did miss the pass interference call. So at that time in the game, it did affect the outcome of the game. Um, but it's like Grady Jarrett is a humongous human being. Like, what is he supposed to do in that situation? Like, how do he cannot just stop his momentum?
Right?
Like,
He didn't even do
there
anything
was
bad.
nothing. It was how you teach somebody to tackle. It was
Oh, that
everything that
was
you could want.
it's even easier than that. But then it like look, I don't even know how I'm going with this. Let's just pick the game. Vikings, Dolphins right now. Dolphins are at home. Vikings are -3 on the point spread right now, so they're favored to win by more than 3 points. They're -154 on the money line. Dolphins are +120 underdogs right now. And yeah, over unders 45.5 right now. If you get Dolphins 154 right now, like knowing they're facing a third string quarterback, man, there's a good chance I'm smashing that line. That line is not big enough. So if you can get it where it is right now, go ahead and hit that line for sure. Um,
I agree.
yeah, all right. So who we all picking here? I'm gonna take the Vikings.
Same.
Time as well.
Clean sweep. All right, last matchup of the episode here. Carolina Panthers, Los Angeles Rams. Carolina Panthers make a pretty decent change, but head coach, addition by subtraction.
Yeah, very true.
Who's the interim head coach?
Um,
I have to look it
their
up.
I think it was their defensive
Is it Baker?
coordinator.
Steve Wilkes. Yeah.
Uh,
The security guard for uh, for Jerry Springer? Oh, it's still Steve Wilco. Never mind. I'm sorry. I got mixed up.
Oh, that's good. Before we get to this, though, I do. Drew, I know you got some things to cover, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you go ahead.
I don't want to. I don't want to talk about it, man. I don't want to do this anymore. I can't. I can't handle another week of watching Matt Stafford just get absolutely fucking pummeled, man. I can't. I can't do it. It's this music makes everything so much worse.
Okay.
It's so
It
bad.
was either that or Sarah McLaughlin, the arms of an angel. So
The offensive line is
I'm
so
not
bad.
crying
I
before
mean,
bed.
they lost their right guard for the season before the season even started. And then their backup right guard got hurt. They're down to their third string center. Left guard isn't playing well. Left tackle isn't playing that well. It is just the offense cannot get anything going because they have no time whatsoever. Like, and it's not to completely say Stafford is free of blame because there are some mistakes he's made that he shouldn't be making, but the dude's operating knowing that he has literally no fucking
like
time
that
to make
screen
any
pass,
type
Drew.
of decision. Yeah.
You can't throw that screen pass.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Um, it's just like I haven't seen line play this bad from the Rams since they were like a
St.
bottom
Louis.
dweller. Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Like they've had injury luck on their side for a few years. It was only a matter of time before that ran out. It just really sucks that the year we also lost Andrew Whitworth, the injury luck also stopped. And so like you lose a Hall of Fame left tackle and then the rest of your offensive line just completely falls apart and gets injured. So it's just like, just a snowball effect of bad shit happening with that offense. So they can't get a running game going. Cam's not playing that well. People are screaming for more Daryl Henderson. Daryl Henderson is not playing that well either. Don't let people fool you. Like neither running back's playing well, and it doesn't matter who's back there playing running back because the line
It
can't
doesn't
block
matter.
for shit. Like, and they can't get creative with the offense because they don't have time to. Like creative plays take time to develop, and there is no such thing as developing right now. Now, luckily, they get the Carolina Panthers this week, who again, the defense is not a slouch by any means, but it is not.
I'm so terrified of what Brian Burns is going to do to that team.
Yeah, he's going to cause problems.
Look at
'Cause
Brown too, man. Derek Brown. Oof.
Yeah, the
That
defensive
defensive
line
line.
is no slouch. So like it's gonna be another tough test in that aspect. It should be, I say should, it should be a winnable game. And then thankfully the Rams have the bye week after that, and they're expected to they're gonna have quite a few guys in the offensive line and in the secondary miss another game this week. But then they're expected to get a handful of guys back after the bye week, and then a few more a couple weeks after that. So assuming no more injuries happen this week, they are on the path to get healthier, and the bye week could not have come at a better time. But yeah, this is the least amount of fun I've had watching the Rams offense since Sean McVay got hired. And it's no fault of Matt Stafford or Sean McVay, but it's just the reality of where we're at right now. So I don't even really enjoy talking about this.
One positive thing is Cooper Kupp still gets there every week, which is unreal.
Week.
It's unbelievable. That guy is the fantasy god. He has surpassed Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion, as fantasy god. Like, with all things considered, I mean, that team has nothing outside of Cooper Kupp offensively.
Hey, look, no, I like Skorotic here. Let's pump the brakes here.
Well, he's outdoing Allen Robinson.
You don't love Skorotic.
Cooper Kupp dusted Trayvon Diggs on a crossing route and took that shit to the house. And it was a route where Diggs was right on him. He had to like one hand tip, catch it, and then just turn speedster Cooper Kupp turned on the fucking burners. He's got that sneaky speed, man. He's a gym rat.
Does things the right way.
He does. First one in, last one out.
Coach's son.
Yeah, all the superlatives.
Is he a coach's son? Do we know that?
He is.
Is he really?
Yes, that was a topic
I think
on ESPN not too long ago.
Oh my god, yes.
He's got all the superlatives going for him for the wide receiver. But yeah, Cooper Kupp's fucking incredible, man. That is the lone bright spot I have every week is I get the joy of watching Cooper Kupp just put on a wide receiver clinic every single week.
Third round wide receiver, Cooper.
Just a clinic, and it's so funny too because we talk about stuff we get wrong. Whenever the Rams were on the clock for that pick, I was banging the table for them to take Chris Godwin. I mean, fucking, please give me Godwin, please. And then they said Cooper Kupp. And I was familiar with Kupp, but I didn't think he was better than Godwin in the draft process. And I was like, man, you got to be fucking kidding me. We passed on Godwin. And then.
I'll say this, dude. Watching Cooper Kupp at the combine, it was like
he had a great combine.
Dude, it was an experience. Like he shot up for me. Like he still wasn't wide receiver one, but he was damn near close. Like
Steve Smith was the only person on the planet that had Cooper Kupp as wide receiver one, and I still think that's impressive.
That combine was. Oof.
There was people that were laughing at Steve Smith for that, and like there was NFL analysts trying to say that Steve Smith could not evaluate wide receivers.
Wide receivers, yeah. Steve Smith doesn't know wide receiver play.
Are you fucking kidding me? That was the main thing that gave me hope because I remember watching NFL Network and hearing that, and I was like, man, I mean, if Steve Smith is that high on this guy, like, clearly there's something.
Turns out he knows a little bit something about wide receivers.
Turns out, imagine that.
So you think he's the greatest undersized wide receiver in the history of the NFL?
Yeah, I do.
What do you count as undersized?
I mean, a person of his stature. He's a smaller wide receiver. Like he was definitely significantly smaller than anyone else that was on the field during that time period. I mean, you have
he's 5'9".
Yeah,
he was only 5'9".
5'9". That's what I'm getting at.
He's definitely the best undersized wide receiver.
And look at his quarterback situations he had too.
I don't really know if I could think of anybody that could be up there with him that was 5'9" or shorter. There's no way there's been somebody as dominant as Steve Smith at that height. No way. Right?
I can't think of anybody.
It's funny how we made our way to Steve Smith and they're playing the Carolina Panthers in this game. So, like, even though there's nothing good to talk about with the Carolina Panthers, we're still kind of giving Panthers fans something to
And
think
they still
about.
have no quarterback.
They still do
Like,
not have a quarterback.
Cam Newton was the last quarterback they had that was anything.
I heard somebody say this week, is Sam Darnold almost ready? And it's like, who fucking cares?
That was me last week. I've seen
there's
enough Baker. I'm done.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I agree. There's nothing there with Baker either, but it's like there's nobody coming to save that. And they don't. The reality is they shouldn't want anybody to save them at quarterback. Like they're on the fast track to, as of right now, the Carolina Panthers own the number 1 pick in the 2023 NFL draft. So they need to just keep sucking because quarterback is clearly the position that they passed on Justin Fields whenever they could have taken.
I do have one guy that I do want to bring up in that argument just to see what you guys think. Because I think at his peak, which, I mean, his peak didn't last long, mainly due to CTE, but Antonio Brown.
Oh, yeah, Antonio Brown's a better receiver than Steve Smith. Are they close to the same height?
Antonio Brown's 5'10". So he's
Yeah. If we're comparing those two, I mean, I don't like AB at all, but he's a better receiver than Steve Smith.
So, yeah, other than that, that's probably the only guy I would.
Yeah, I didn't even think about AB.
I just assumed he was a little bit taller than.
I honestly didn't even.
Well, he went in the 5th round.
Steve Smith never played that small.
No, fuck no, dude.
So I didn't even realize.
How tall was Hines Ward?
Hines Ward was taller than 5'9". He's probably 5'11", 6 foot maybe even.
Yeah, he's 6 foot.
That's an interesting question, though.
Yeah.
Steve Smith definitely deserves to be up there. I mean, I can't imagine thinking of anybody other than Antonio Brown.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm the only one that gave any actual, insight to this game. So I don't know if you guys have anything that you want to add. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about here.
No, I will say I think this is a trap game for the Rams. Because for whatever reason, and like history shows us this, whenever they make a coaching change in season, it actually weirdly works well for about a week or two.
Yeah, the teams really get up for those first couple games with the interim coach.
So I think this can be a trap, not only with the weaknesses of the Rams literally being the strengths of the Panthers.
Yep.
But now you have a team that's fired up. You have a head coach that's fired up. A lot of those guys
I legitimately got more nervous about this game once I saw that Matt Rule got fired.
Yeah, exactly.
It made me more nervous about the game for all the reasons that you're saying. I agree completely.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this could be a trap game, man. Curious to see. Let's check the odds on it right now because I am curious to see how that. So right now, wow. Rams are 10.5 point favorites.
I was going to say 9.5.
Yeah, 10.5. Minus 500 favorites to win. Panthers are plus 300 underdogs. The over/under is only 40.5 points.
This will be the biggest upset of the year if they lose, if they lose this game.
Yeah,
of the year.
Betting wise, yeah, for sure. Man,
they're on their 3rd string quarterback though too, man. Like, it's not like
PJ.
I get your point, but I still feel like the Rams have Aaron Donald, they have Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying. I'll say this: this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Or not like ever seen, but like they probably got better by firing their head coach. And they probably got better starting their 3rd string quarterback. PJ Walker is probably the best quarterback in that room, if I'm being honest.
He very well could be.
So they probably upgraded those 2 spots. And at least like that guy's like, at least he'll use his legs. He's got a big arm.
Ike Ekwonu had probably his best week of his rookie season this past week.
If they somehow sign
Christian
He Hate Me,
100 yards or a touchdown.
I will totally pick the Panthers if they could pull that off. If they can get He Hate Me to come out of retirement to help PJ Walker this week and XFL greats are back. Then
all right, well, let's pick this game here. I'm going to go with I'm actually going to go with the LA Rams. I did all that. Did all that posturing. I'm going to take the Rams in this one.
I am as well.
but very similar
Rams.
to the Green Bay Packers, man. If the Rams come out struggling this game,
Panic button.
bro,
Absolutely.
that's some trouble.
Like I said, Carolina is in line right now to be the number one pick in the draft. They are the worst of the worst right now in a league that is
CJ
full
Stroud,
of really
come
bad
on down.
quarterback play. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if they struggle here, yeah, panic button, big time. Panic. I've already set off the panic button, but
I'm not there yet.
I got to see the offensive line get healthy.
Dude, literally every point. It's so funny. Every point in that argument you made about the Rams, I was like, he could literally insert the name of the Colts here, and it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, no,
They
are the exact same team.
They're the same team.
The offensive line play is awful. They can't run the ball because of it. They can't develop passing plays because of it.
The quarterbacks are turning the ball over.
Both defenses are playing well, but they're on the field way too fucking much that you can't sustain it. They are carbon copies of each other right now.
It is the same team.
The only difference is the Colts are in the AFC South, where there's the San Francisco 49ers, who by far look like the best team in that division right now.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's a good team, man. All right, well, even with how shitty is it be at the beginning of the season if they told you they lost Trey Lance and they still look like the best team in the division?
I would have said, yeah, that's probably about right, because that's what they do in the regular season, especially whenever the Rams got to play them early on. And I think the Rams' first game coming out of the bye is San Francisco again.
This motherfucker.
Like, I fucking hate the 49ers, man.
I actually like the 49ers, man.
I hate them, and I hate what fucking those playmakers and Kyle Shanahan has done to people. They got people out here believing that Jimmy Garoppolo is a viable quarterback option, and this shit just irks my nerves, man. Oh, that shit irks my nerves, man. God, you know you've done something whenever you got people believing in Jimmy Garoppolo. Fuck. All right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You gotta let it out, bro. Let that hate out of your heart.
I gotta get it out there, man. I can't leave it in. This is the only outlet I got.
Heart, let it out.
This is the only outlet.
This show is my outlet to get this shit out. So if I let Arthur Smith and Jimmy Garoppolo sit in here, I'm gonna end up like being mean to my kids or some shit. I gotta just get it out
in the newspaper.
Oh, good. Local man.
Local man beats his kids while cussing Jimmy Garoppolo's name.
God. Thanks, Jimmy G.
That's the new thanks Biden or thanks Obama.
They're right now is the storybook Super Bowl pick for me, because the NFL's rigged like everything else.
Who is?
The San Francisco 49ers with the Jimmy Garoppolo storyline.
That can't happen. I cannot have Jimmy Garoppolo win a Super Bowl.
We've had
everything Drew believes.
We've had Katrina. We had Peyton Manning, who looked like a shell of himself.
Oh, no.
Ray Lewis. How many different scenarios do I need to throw out there? How sports are rigged.
Drew Brees after Katrina.
That's what I said. That was my first thing I rattled off.
Patriots on 9/11.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Jimmy Garoppolo's going to win the fucking Super Bowl.
Nah.
Oh.
You heard it here first, people.
Surely not.
No, there's better storylines.
I'm counting on you, Jalen Hurts. Do not let this happen.
Yeah, there's better storylines out there. I can't think of them right now, but
give me like half a second. I'll figure one out.
It'd be Belichick versus Jimmy Garoppolo.
Belichick sends Brady into retirement.
Zappy at quarterback.
With Bailey Zapp. That's it right there. Belichick sends Brady into retirement with Bailey Zapp.
If the Patriots and 49ers made the Super Bowl this year, I legitimately would consider not watching. Like
rigged. That's the ultimate sports are rigged, right?
That's just the ultimate. My God, I would rather take a nap because that game's just going to put me to sleep anyway, and I can't root for anybody. I'm not going to root for Bill Belichick. I'm not going to root for the 49ers. Like, there's no positive storyline for that anywhere there, and except for like the game gets canceled.
Out the pasture.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
We got to stop.
Oh,
This is
Go
disgusting.
spend time with your family. Oh wait,
I got one more for you. The ultimate heel, Deshaun Watson, makes the Super Bowl with
Oh,
the Cleveland
God.
Browns his first season.
against
Who's the nicest person in the league, and they win by like 40 points.
They beat Kirk Cousins.
They beat
Kirk Cousins is like the new Phillip Rivers. Like he on the sideline saying,
Oh
"Darn
yeah,
it,
he does do the gosh darn it.
dadgum." Like,
Dadgummit. Yeah, he does do that.
that would be the.
Wait,
that would
he's
be
not
the-
vaccinated though, so I mean, he's not very well.
He's
liked
still kind
either.
of a shitty person too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like who would be like the most like female forward organization in football, but weirdly, it's probably the Browns because they have the only assistant GM that's a female, which literally makes no sense. Anyway, we're gonna end the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, make sure to share, like, hit the subscribe button, and also, if you're happen to be listening to this on audio format, if you would please leave us a review, give us a rating, preferably 5 stars. But look, if you just want to say fuck these guys, leave us 1 stars. I don't care. Like just
49ers fans probably aren't going to rate us too high.
I like the 49ers. At least give us 3 stars. I literally stuck up for Jimmy G for multiple episodes now. This has been going back to the summer. At least give us 3 stars. But yeah, we appreciate all the support. Go ahead, check out our Twitter at 3Man Rush Podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube, go follow all 3 of us on Twitter as well. Our Twitters are in the description on the video. And we will see you tomorrow.